Okay, we're going to make this wood block. We're going to draw on this piece of paper using ultrafine Sharpie. In period 4, someone said, just for fun, show me what line design looks like on cylinder, right? So this is what it would look like on a cylinder. Further away is going to be, you know, marks that are closer together, and then wider as it gets towards the highlight. Gives you kind of a sense of depth, and of course it's not done, because when I took a pencil to an eraser to this would go away, the bottom would go away, but that's just a main idea. With this, here's my wood block. Here is, when it's on my tabletop, this is what it looks like. First thing you want to do is take your pencil and decide the value ranges of each plane. You want to make each plane a different value on the scale. I would make the top a step 2, excuse me, and then make each other side 2 steps different to just make sure the steps are, like, don't blend into each other. So this would be step 2. Now you're going to decide which side is darker, right, or which side is lighter. From my point of view, and I took a picture because you can't see the block the way I have it standing on my desk. This is my darkest side, and this is my mid-tone. So in that case, I would make 4 and 6. And then my cast shadow would be a 7, all right? But maybe yours is opposite. Maybe this is a 4, and this is a 6. However, and then just as a reminder to yourself, write that number in the box. Because a block is flat, it's going to be the same. This whole side is going to be one value. This whole side is going to be one value. And this whole side is going to be one value. Say there was like a cast shadow or something on your block, forget about it. Just make it one value. It'll give you that illusion of flat sides, because we don't want to create, by mistake, like an illusion of a curved side or something like that. Oops, there goes my phone. So, there you go. Okay, I'm going to put that aside and then start drawing. Okay. How do the cross contour lines go? If you remember, for cylinders, they were curved horizontally and straight vertically. Well, this is all straight, right? But we want to create a sense of depth. So we're going to create line design that is parallel with the sides of our block. So I'm going to show you how to do that, right? Here, this way, this way, this way. 3 different angles. That's going to help me create a sense of, I don't know, varying planes in space, I guess is the best way to put it. Okay. Is it wrong to go this way? Grab this way? No. However, you don't want to have everything going in the same direction. Imagine if all your directional lines were going in the same direction, it would kind of flatten everything out. So you want it to be different, okay? So, okay. Now you're going to turn your paper and pretty much work vertically, because you're going to get less confused that way. See these 2 lines right here? I'm going to work vertically. So here I go. This is a step 6. Maybe I want to start with an easier step. I'm going to start with my step 2. Keep your copy sheet handy as a reminder of the steps. You can keep the one that you did or this one. And remember, I'm going to create a step 2 here. Any vertical lines that I create are going to be parallel to these lines, meaning I'm working in this direction. And I'm creating a broken line to help me solidify my form. Okay. If you take a look at this and erase, you want to make sure your form doesn't disappear. So cool. Now I'm going to do, see how that goes back in space? How cool, right? So cool. Sorry, I still get excited. All right, step 4. Double check on your sheet. It's a little closer, but not as close as step 6. Good thing. I told myself I was going to go up and down. I'm going to do something cool. So notice, like this line here, I was going parallel with that. So I was trying to... Best off kind of making sweeping marks across your plane and then fill it in. Like at this point you might say, that's not a step 4. I'm just deciding my design, and then I'm going to fill it in. As I fill it in, I'm going to double check myself. How am I doing on my step 4? Okay, I'm doing pretty good. If you're in a situation like this where you've got like a weird space, we want to make sure that we know, or our viewer knows, that this is a block. So that's where I'm just going to create this little tiny line makes a huge difference in my form. This little tiny line. I knew there was a reason we made a video today. If anyone needs, to get a drink or use the restroom and they miss something important, there it is, right? Now, if there's any confusion between my two planes, and this one being darker, which right now there is, I need to fix it. So maybe that means that my step 4 is denser, like a step 5, and then my step 6 is really dense, and that's okay, as long as there isn't competition between the planes. That's the important thing. That's what I'll be looking at. So for this whole drawing, there's going to be 4 value steps. What do you think the 4th value step is going to be? The cast shadow. It's early Monday morning, right? So it's kind of cool, my creative side is starting to wake up, and this is more interesting than the other 2 sides. Every time I make a vertical, I'm trying to make it parallel to the sides of the page for this one side, because I got straight lines here. One more dense. I'm trying to attempt Sophie's really awesome. She had the cool, if anyone wants to see a cool line design, she's got a really cool one. Okay. One thing I could have done to improve is look at these lines right here. I wanted them to be slightly upward. So I just went right over it. I'm like, you know what, that's okay. I'm going to have white out for your final, so if you make a mistake like I just did, you can we'll pass it around. You'll also have at least a class period for your final, because informed work takes more time than a pre-test. So pretty sweet. One thing is missing: cast shadow. Oops. There we go. Here we go. Cast shadow. See how I've got this triangle here? Your cast shadow is going to have straight sides. but it's probably going to be going in a different direction than mine. Maybe not, but mine's like this, so I'm looking to see where, this is how you draw a cast shadow, no matter what the shape. I'm looking on the height of my line where my cast shadow looks like it's touching the side. And here, it's right here. And then it's always going to emerge from the bottom and then meet somewhere in the center. So here we go. I'm looking at this negative space here. Oops. I'm looking at this negative space here to determine the angle. And that's how my cast shadow looks. Oh, by the way, no need on your final or your practice to have the curved corners of the block. A lot of people try to achieve that, and that's not going to be assessed. So if you want to do that, you can, but it just, to me, it's extra time to make those corners accurate. That being said, to achieve it, please don't trace. There were a handful of people across 3 classes that actually traced their block, which is a really kind of a smart idea, but the point of the lesson is drawing from observation, so it kind of, didn't really help that very much. All right. Now, our tabletop isn't going to change. Our tabletop is going to stay the same. So our cast shadow for our cylinder, our block, and our sphere are all going to be hatch marks. Not cross hatch, but hatch marks. So, all 3 shapes, lines are the same. However, shape of cast shadow changes. So, your direction of cast shadows are going to be the same. They're all going to be heading the same direction because you have one light source at your desk. But your cast shadows are going to be different shapes. So, these are all going to be straight lines, parallel to the top and the bottom of my page. Very hard to do. Some people that are struggling with this, feel free to make longer straight lines in pencil, fading off, and then you have something to go by. And then fade off. Last step is you're going to erase all your pencil on the whole drawing. And hopefully you've been able to create that illusion.